Angle between vectors. We can use what we already know about dot products and magnitudes in order to find the angle between two different vectors. The formula to find the angle between vectors is cosine of theta, which is your angle measure, is equal to the dot product of vector v with vector u divided by the magnitude of vector v times the magnitude of vector u. And then take an inverse cosine in order to get your theta. Okay, so for this first example, we have u -2, 5 and v 4, -1. So we want to find u dot v, which is going to be -2 times 4 plus 5 times -1, which is going to equal -8 plus a -5, which is -13. So that is my numerator, and then I want to find my magnitude of u, which is going to be the square root of 4 plus 25, which is the square root of 29. And the magnitude of v is equal to the square root of 4 squared, which is 16, plus -1 squared, which is 1, which is the square root of 17. So if I put those two together, the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v, I'm going to get the square root of 29 times 17, which is the square root of 493. So if you get an estimate answer here, which is good enough because we just want the angle measure, we would get 22.20. Alright, and now we're going to put that together to actually find our angle. So the cosine of theta is equal to the dot product, which is -13, over the magnitudes multiplied together. So that would be 22.20. So if I divide those out, then I get approximately -0.586. And now I have cosine of theta equals -0.586. And I need to take the inverse cosine. So that would be theta equals the inverse cosine of -0.586. And then type that in the calculator and get your estimate answer for theta, which is approximately 125.8 degrees. So that is your final answer. For this next one, we got to start by finding our dot product. U dot v is going to equal -3 times 5 plus 0 times -1, which is going to equal -15 plus 0, which is -15. And then I'm going to find my magnitude of u, and that's going to be the square root of 9 plus 0, which is the square root of 9, which is 3. And the magnitude of v is equal to the square root of 5 squared is 25, -1 squared is 1, so that is the square root of 26. So magnitude of u times the magnitude of v is equal to 3 square root of 26. So we have the cosine of theta equal to -15 over 3 square root of 26, which simplifies to -0.981 approximately. So that means theta is equal to the inverse cosine of negative 0.981, which is approximately equal to 168.69 degrees. The first thing we need to do on this next one is find u dot v, and that's going to be 18. Then we need to find the magnitude of u. So we get 2 square root of 10, and the magnitude of v is equal to 9. So now we have cosine of theta equals 18 over 18 times the square root of 10, which is approximately equal to 1 over the square root of 10. So we can find cosine of theta equal to 1 over the square root of 10, and that's going to be approximately equal to 71.57 degrees. And the last example here, we have u is 3,5, v is negative 8,1, so u dot v will equal negative 19. Next thing we have to do is find the magnitude of u, and that's going to equal square root of 34. And the magnitude of v is going to equal the square root of 65. So when we put all that together to find the angle, we have cosine of theta equals negative 19 over the square root of 34 times the square root of 65, which if we use our rules, that is negative 19 over the square root, multiply 34 times 65, and you get 2,210. And then you can solve this. Cosine of theta equals negative 19 over the square root of 2,210. So theta equals approximately 113.84 degrees. Final answer. So those are your notes over finding angles between two vectors. Go through some practice problems. Make sure you get comfortable with this. You will not have the formula on the quiz or the test, so you're going to have to know how to do it. And then you can take your quiz over the material.